we're back here today at the Root Cause Podcast, and we've got a celebrity with us, Amanda.
I know.
I mean, this guy, we got a Hanks with us.
Representing T County.
Yeah, T County, and yeah,
That's right.
I thought Trouble County was.
Some people would say that.
Yeah, so no, we just learned he's a little related to Tom Hanks. I mean, that's big. Has Tom ever bought you a Christmas present?
No, I've had people ask me, like, are you kin to Tom? And I'm like, well, actually, I am. And they're like, wow. And I said, but I just don't have none of his money. You know, that's the problem.
Okay, no Christmas present.
No Christmas present, yeah.
So we got Logan Hanks with us here today with runs the podcast Talk Dirt to Me. And honored to have you here, and just give us a little rundown of what Logan Hanks has been up to, and kind of a little family history.
Yeah.
Man, I appreciate it. First of all, I just appreciate y'all having me here. You got like I said, a killer setup. I love the setup, the sign. I'm really jealous of y'all's sign back here. Yeah, man, I grew up farming. I've been in ag all my life. My dad, he farmed. My grandfather farmed. I mean, you know, about as far back as you can trace it, ag's been in our blood. And I grew up in it, got tired of it when I was a teenager. I remember I told people, if you asked me as a teen, like, man, what are you going to do when you grow up? I'd say, I don't know, but it ain't going to be farming. And because that's all I did.
So in your high school years, you were kind of anti.
I was anti. You know, I still, you know, I loved my farming stuff, but I did not want to be doing that all the time.
Did you see the stress and the worry and is that what was on you, or what was causing?
No,
that?
at that age, all my buddies were having a good time, and I was working all the time.
That's what I was going to say.
Yeah.
I remember my grandparents,
Yeah. No, I didn't ever, and it was different back then. Like, we were big cattle hay guys back whenever I was a teenager. And
so that's a good way to work every day. It ends in Y.
Yes. And that hay, you know, that's when all my buddies were having a good time in the summer. I was out chunking hay bales. And so that part wore me out. Just, I was a teenager. I didn't know.
Yeah.
And so we got into row crop more and more. My dad, that's what he's always had a passion for row crop. And all his life he wanted to, he wanted to be a row crop farmer. And so when he got the chance to really step off into that more, we kind of got into that world. And when I got out of high school, I was like, man, I just needed to spread my wings.
Yeah.
And so I went to tech school in Covington, and I became a machinist for a couple of years and worked in Memphis. And I couldn't get back to farming quick enough. I got out there and I was like, man, I gotta get back to the farm. And so in 2015, I actually got married. And then like 3 months later, we went deep in debt and bought a farm and came back. My wife's a nurse. I basically was waiting we could get on her insurance and then I could go back to farming. And that's what we did.
So you're holding her hostage.
I am holding her hostage.
Well, how's she feel about that?
She loves the life. I tell you, it's funny. She comes from a very money conscious family. Like, they're very, don't take on a lot of debt. And literally we get married and then we take on a 40-year term note. And I'm like, all right, we're going to be in debt for the rest of our lives.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Possibly.
Possibly. Yeah.
And then, I guess 5-10 years later here, the horizon still looks tough, and we'll get into that a little bit. So I guess so your why, Amanda, let's find out is why.
Yeah. I'd like to know so tell me what your and your wife's and family's goals are, and kind of why you push forward every day, why you do the podcast, why you're involved in it, what your vision is for the future.
Oh man. That's a big question. I'm a weird cat, I feel like, in my interests. Whenever I was I'm a movie guy. I love movies, love film. I've always been obsessed with movies, and so
any kind of movie.
My top would be, The Patriot is up there at the top. I got a weird one though. The Patriot and Young Frankenstein are like two of my favorites.
Okay, yeah, that's different.
Yeah. Have you seen Young Frankenstein?
I haven't.
Oh, have you?
I have not.
Oh, my gosh. Yeah, y'all got to go watch that. It's Mel Brooks. It's a real funny movie. But I've always been, action. I grew up action guy, but I still love all that. And so I just like storytelling. I've always been a big fan of that and entertaining. And the ag is, as I learned when I left farming, I would drive home. I can remember as a machinist, you're inside all day and there's not even windows. And it's kind of like, man, I'm stuck at this machine. And I would drive home and it'd be sometimes during harvest or during planting. And I would see some of the tractors in the field. And I'm like, man, it would bug me. And I was only out for like 2 years, but I would see those. I'm like, man, I just need to be back in the dirt. And so I found that I just naturally have a pull to that. Like it sounds cheesy to be like, it's in your blood, but I really believe it is. And so I wanted to get back to that. But then I also I've always had that just storytelling itch that I've always wanted to scratch. And, I don't know. I like to talk, and podcasting was kind of an easy entry point. And so I just went in that, and it's really taken off. I mean, we just have a good time shooting the shit, to be honest with you.
Yeah. So I mean, it upsets a guy like Howard Stern because just anybody can get a microphone and the internet connection and be worldwide.
Oh, yeah.
We don't have to get hired. You just do it.
You can see today, independent media like this, it actually has a larger reach now than like CNN.
Yeah.
And, and that's what do they call that?
Well, it's probably got a higher trust rating.
Oh, it definitely does. Yeah, it definitely does. And I'll tell you, like one of the things, like with our show, Talk Dirt to Me, we're very unfiltered. I did cuss earlier. I hope I'm allowed to. Sorry, might have got you in trouble.
You can.
But we're very unfiltered, and we just talk like I talk normal
All the time.
And we kind of got tickled yesterday. Are you sponsored by John Deere or anything?
Not yet.
All right. Well,
but I would take some money.
Okay, well,
just if they offered.
I'm not.
But I would take it from Case either.
Oh, I was gonna say, see,
you wouldn't take it if they offered it.
I mean, they're not going to offer it, is what I'm getting at.
Oh, okay.
Because we've probably rattled John Deere's cage a little bit, but man, it's I get kind of tickled because you got these squeaky clean influencers now, and man, it just to me, there's nothing wrong with that, but I just don't feel like I like raw and authentic. Like I want to talk to a guy and I want him to be the exact same way on the mic as he is off the mic.
Right.
And I've had encounters with people throughout the years now that they're very different, and that's not how I want to be. So that's kind of that's just kind of my style.
Yep. Well, Amanda and I have been on the road a lot in the last few weeks doing sales through our Earth Optics and Endurance Ag and Hoganics, a lot of things we're doing, and I've been preaching to her. I went to a conference in Tucson last weekend, and we went to one in November, and it's really touched me hard. We've got too many people in the middle of our food dollar.
Yeah.
So today we farmers are getting about 13 cents, and we deserve 30.
Yeah.
The 13 cents has got us below the poverty level, and so I don't know how we work on that, but all the major ag corporations are guilty. It ain't one that's not.
Oh, yeah.
And then all the major the food companies are at guilt. And then all the major health companies.
Yeah.
So I don't know. We kind of need a cleaning of the. I always tell people when we're so fortunate to live in the United States, don't get me wrong, but the national anthem needs to end, land of the free, home of the brave, and the local payoff.
Yeah.
Because everybody has got their position and you can't budge them.
Yeah.
And we little farmers, we can't really agree on much.
Oh.
But I do believe we can agree that we deserve 30 cents of the food dollar, and we have the ability to help the earth, clean the earth up. We all want to, and improve the health of our people. So I just like your opinion on this is my hairy, audacious goal.
Well, man, I'll tell you, one of my big gripes is the lack of competition, in ag. I think not amongst farmers. There's plenty of competition amongst farmers. Like you said, it's tough, but I think the big one is, all right, you mentioned like equipment. I mentioned John Deere earlier. Yeah, they're not the only ones. It's there's about 3 big corporations that dominate the equipment. And I mean, that's why like a new tractor, $600,000, whatever it is, something outrageous. and they don't have any real competition. So they don't have to be competing with the price because for the most part, they own all the competition, or their two other competitors own all that branch of competition. And it's the same way in the seed world. It's the same way. Like we were in Anaheim, like, I don't know, a couple weeks ago for the big Farm Bureau show.
I saw that.
And I was talking to this guy because I had shared in the show we did up there that I paid $330 a bag for seed corn this past year. And we were at this dinner, and this older guy, he said, man, $330 a bag. He said, that's crazy. He said, what was it? And I told him what it was. And he said, man, I didn't pay but $200 a bag. And I said, dang, what kind were you getting? And he told me the brand. And I said, wow, I've never heard of that. I said, was it good? He said, yeah, it's good. I said, nice. So I said, well, I might have tried. And he said, well, now they were just bought by, and I won't throw the name out there, but one of the big brands. He said, now they did just get bought. And I said, well, then when I see you here next year, you'll be telling me you paid $330 a bag. So that's the problem. Like there used to be a host of independent seed companies. There used to be all kinds of different equipment dealers. And now it's all owned by a handful of corporations. Yep. And so there's no necessity to be competitive because they dominate the market, and we got to have the equipment. So we just pay the price, even though the price is breaking us.
Yep. And so I've got some good news to report, and I'll let Amanda report it. But she and I went to a farm this week that really fed our punchline, which is soil health and feed the plant. So tell us about your journey on soil health, if you've thought about it, and any kind of measures you've taken. And then Amanda, you can elaborate on what we ran into.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I tell everyone on the show, like I work with agronomists because I'm like, those guys are a lot smarter than me. I said, but I am a big fan of cover crops. I've gotten into that pretty deep, probably about 3 or 4 years ago. And I actually even kind of dabbled with the planting green thing. And I still kind of like that, but it's a little tricky. It can be a little, I have had issues with like slugs on the green planting, but I'm just a big believer. I like something growing all the time. I'm a little bit of a hippie, I guess, in that aspect. And so I like a multi-species cover crop. I love seeing crimson clover too. Like that's one of my favorite things. I just love
Mama's
it.
Favorite.
I love that. And it puts good nitrogen back in the ground, but I'd try to minimize, I'm a no-till guy, cover crop guy. That's kind of the bulk of mine. And, when you get into the real nuts and bolts, that's where I'm like, man, I got guys that I've worked with that are a whole lot smarter than me on that.
Yeah.
The gentleman that we had an opportunity to visit, as soon as you walk in the door, you can just tell he has an intellect that is definitely above our two mindsets.
Yeah.
And he sits down and he starts to go through his farm process, and they've got 34 years of data.
Wow.
Of where the only thing he is putting on his soil was nitrogen. He was not putting down any boron. He wasn't putting down, because he had gotten his soil to a true 50-50 ratio, basically.
Fungi bacteria ratio.
Yeah.
And so, me, I'm over here challenging him with my little book of stuff. And he's like, yeah, it don't pay for us anymore.
Yeah.
And it pays for little spots in the field, but it don't pay because our soil's so healthy, we don't have to do it. And so I'd name off something else. So we went through a lot of micro elements that my soil is dependent upon, but his isn't.
Mm-mm.
Now, where was this?
Yeah. So he's in northern Indiana.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And, but he's 34 years. So I met the owner of the farm or the principal at this meeting in Tucson, and just in visiting with him, I was just blown away, and didn't get to meet the owner there, but we did get to meet with the head guy. And one thing he was telling us is to get on this journey of where he's at. It's not a short journey.
No.
Yeah.
And you have to really challenge for everybody to stay on the same pattern. And if it something doesn't work, keep going forward. Don't revert back to commercial. Keep going forward.
Yeah. Well, I told him, I said, so you got to divorce what you know.
Yeah.
And everyone around us, and it's nobody's at fault. I mean, we were all just doing what we thought was best. But you beat up on John Deere. I'll beat up on the land grant universities and our other boards.
Yeah.
I don't have a lot of confidence that they're really out here because, you know, where do they get their funding? Where does those big donor dollars come from?
Yeah.
And it worries me, are they doing the right thing for us?
Oh, yeah.
And
Yeah, I would agree.
yeah. So, but I tell you, in visiting with this man, I just couldn't get over it.
I know, and he does his own trials on his own.
Now y'all have piqued my curiosity. Like, what's he doing?
So,
well,
34 years of no-till.
Yeah.
Yep.
They start with all kinds of thin cover crops, not thickly planted cover crops, and just monitoring their soil health. But here's the thing he's done is he's removed the salt from the system. So the only salt he's really getting is from the UAN.
Okay.
And, but you know, you name off this, and I mean, so when we get to a balanced soil, that it will produce a healthy crop. And it was just very refreshing because every solution I had, he'd already fixed it.
Yeah.
And so it's he was really, really good. So for everybody who's a naysayer, it can work. And
does he run livestock on it as well?
No livestock.
Okay.
But a pretty big operation as well.
Yeah.
And so
only nitrogen.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Now they're putting out some chicken litter.
Yeah.
But just removing the salt from the system, and he told us about picking up some new land, and so we hope to go up, and I hope to do a podcast with him.
Yeah.
And we're going to go up and do some earth optics testing, because I would just like to see the difference
between the new soil and then what he's worked on for 34 years.
Yeah, I wonder how long it'll take him to convert what he newly picked up to kind of match what he's currently working.
So he told me that it's about a 3-4 year transition.
Well, that's quicker than I would have thought. That's not bad. I mean,
Arbitrarily, you would have thought closer to 10 years.
Yeah. But you know, that's one of the things with farming, though. You know, one of the things that helped me, I think, is the fact that I'm a young guy, so I'm not like locked into any one thing. Like it's easy for
blinders.
me. No, like I've talked to older guys, and I'm like, when the cover crop thing came around, and I kind of first started doing it, I'd talk to some guys and they're like, oh no, that was just, they're ridiculous. Don't want to get onto that. And then even like early beans, was planting beans early. I said something to some guys about, I'm going to try planting beans early. This was, several years ago. And they're like, you don't plant beans early. Like that's just, you're messing up. And now most all of those people, they also are trying to plant their beans as early as humanly possible. But, I don't know. I think that there's a lot of ways to skin a cat, as I say in agriculture. And I'm not like, I've got a funny, whenever I first called, because, EQIP program, I'm sure y'all, that's one of the things the government and all of its faults and whatever, I do like the EQIP program within RCS. And I called up there about their cover crop program. And I started talking to one of the guys that works up there, and I was like, man, I was asking him questions about the cover crop. And he like paused and he goes, are you actually interested in this? And I was like, well, yeah, that's why I'm calling. And he goes, man, this is wild. And I was like, what? And he said, generally, when a farmer calls me about this program, they just say, what pays the most money? What do I need to do? Yeah. He said, they don't care at all about anything, but just what's going to give me the most return. And I'm like, well, no, actually, I'm trying to, the income part of it's nice to help offset some costs, but no, I want to actually optimize my soil. And so it blew his mind
that I
was actually interested in it.
Yeah. Boy, that's sad.
It is sad. I mean, because the better our soil quality, the better our yield, which in theory should be the better profit we make, especially like this guy you're talking about. He's not having to spend near what I'm having to spend per acre to get a return. And that's what I think one of the things we need to get away from is this idea of like every year I've got to maximize my yields. I've got to shoot for a higher yield every year. And instead it's like, well, let me actually why don't we shoot for maximum ROI? Like I think that's kind of one of the things we need to focus on, because we can get caught up. Look, I'm just as bad as the next guy. I love seeing them big numbers in the combine. I love seeing that yield monitor jump up. But what I'd rather see...
But then where are we going to take it? Where's it going to go?
Yeah, that's right. I mean, and that's another part where this like yield chasing is also killing us because we produce too much. We do not have markets right now for the amount of supply that we produce. Like there's not enough demand right now. And so we just keep, and farmers were our worst enemy because it's like, well, if prices are low, then I got to out yield these markets. And it's like that just keeps making things worse.
Yep. So talk to me about the big meeting in Anaheim. Was there a lot of government officials there, or just the people who are in charge of our markets and holding us under these tariffs and different things? Was there a lot of, was that a big topic?
Yeah, it was. We did we met Zippy, who's, he's the president of the American Farm Bureau, and he was a really good guy. I enjoyed chatting with him. He's, I think, Georgia, and he talked a little on the tariff thing. He mostly just talked about how terrible the ag economy is right now. And he was like, the two big topics was how bad ag economy is and then the mental health of farmers.
Yes.
Because, the suicide rate is astronomical right now in farming. And so they kind of hit on that. The most impressive thing that we heard was Stephen Vaden. He's the Deputy Secretary of Ag. We got to hear him. And he is, I would probably say that dude's probably a genius. And he's from Obion County, so he's a Tennessee dude too. But he got to talking. He talked about the tariffs, but he really talked about, what's killing us is Brazil. Brazil is just out producing us on soybeans. And, I do get kind of tickled because people here like to get mad about things farmers do. Meanwhile, in Brazil, they're clearing the rainforest to add ground to farm. And it's like, man, and what I get even more frustrated, I'm going to pick on John Deere again, is they produce cheaper equipment for Brazilian farmers to use. And I've also heard, this may or may not be true, y'all may can tell me, but I've heard that they don't even have to pay a technology fee on their seed. So
I think there is some truth to that.
Yeah, like it's like, why are we...
Have you ever been down there?
No, have you?
Yeah, I've been. It was been a long time ago, but it is a very eye-opening experience. So my question about the rainforest is, who owns it?
I know, yeah. Who does own rain? Who?
I don't know.
Do you just show up and clear it and it's yours?
You just say, like a 40-acre land grant.
Yeah.
I don't know. That's a good question and one I should know the answer to. But
could I buy a bulldozer and a track hoe and go down there and just claim a bunch of it?
Clean it up.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't think you could.
There's definitely not enough social media in regards to that occurring.
No. Where's all that outcry?
Yeah, there's not.
Don't they, from my understanding, they clear it and then they run cattle on it for 5 to 10 years or something, and then they convert it into row crop ground, I think is how I've kind of understood what they do.
Yeah, that's what I've read.
Yeah, but they can just go from open to
immediate.
Yeah. They don't have to have
their farming practices, aren't they also depleting the nutrients? I've heard that their soil quality is really dropping.
Yeah, well, it's a sandier soil to begin with, so
yeah.
Where we were in central Brazil, so yeah, it's still very. But they're here and they're a lower cost producer than we are, so what are we gonna do about that?
Well, and that's the thing I've said, because I've talked to some of the guys who've been in it a long time, and they're like, well, it's all cyclical, it's going to come back. It's a roller coaster. You got these years and that. And I said, but the problem is we got a player in the game that has not been a big player in the game, and that's Brazil. China, we always talk about China, and, but China wants to be independent of the United States. They have not wanted to be depending on us. And you can trace it back all the way long before the tariffs. You can go back to, I want to say 2007 frame is when they started really investing in the infrastructure in Brazil. And because I know that's the one thing, Brazil and them, they have terrible infrastructure. They might have to haul beans 1,000 miles or something.
Yeah, which has been a long time, but the infrastructure was horrific.
Yeah. See, I've heard China's been investing. I think they're trying to build essentially a railroad system in Brazil.
They've done it. It's pretty good.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah. See that's what I'd heard. And so did the trade war probably hasten some of their move? I would say so. Was it the cause? No, I don't think so. I think China's just not wanted to be dependent on the United States.
Yeah. and we're both very dependent on each other.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I think we're their number one importer of goods.
Yeah, I mean, this microphone, I don't know what it costs, but it would be a lot more if it didn't have that cheaper, So everything we're touching, we're taking advantage of their cheap products.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so,
Yeah,
yeah,
it's a love-hate relationship, whether you like it or not. But you're stuck with each other, so you might as well do the dance.
Yeah,
Yep.
you just got to get along. You know, so
Yeah, I don't know. The ag economy. The one thing I know is the ag economy sucks.
you got that. You heard you heard about it.
About what?
The ag economy being terrible.
I did hear that. But no, like I will tell you one thing. Like Vaden, again, going back to him, I was very impressed with him. He is calling out Mosaic and Nutrien for the fertilizer costs, doing some fixing on the prices, and I appreciate the fact that that's coming up. I mean, Vaden was very big on not being reliant on government payments. He was like, we got to create markets. We got to have more markets. We got to create some markets because, we just you can't depend upon payments. Farmers, we get a bad rap all the time in the media world. We see it on social media all the time. Like we get attacked constantly. Oh, you farmers, we're just all our tax dollars just keeping you guys in your new pickups and stuff. They love to say that kind of stuff.
Yeah, yeah. And the contrary to that is the government's taking our product, horse trading it all the way around the world for whatever reasons we have no clue.
Yep.
And we're providing the first line of national defense. So you're totally right. They're totally right. Everybody's right. So it's very complicated. And have you reached out to any of your local representatives to voice your opinion about our current situation?
I have, yeah. I talked a lot to Deborah Moody, and then I talked to, oh gosh, I can't remember. I sent out a bunch of emails. I sent out one to old Steve Cohen because I'm in his district.
Oh, bless you.
I finally actually did get a response from him, but it was about the one I expected. No, I talked to quite a few of them.
Yeah,
my representatives.
Well, I've got the other representative, and I've sent one to him, and I didn't get anything.
Kustoff?
Correct.
Really?
Yeah.
See, I had reached out to him back when he was my rep, and I got a response from him.
Okay. Yeah.
See, wow.
Yeah. So.
Well, I got one out of Cohen. You need to get on to him.
Yeah. Yeah. So I don't know. It's I'd say at our all-time low is our belief that our people, so we were talking to a guy who attended the big farmer meeting in Arkansas last fall, and I mean, how many farmers showed up? They were expecting 30 and they had 400.
I was going to say hundreds, yeah.
Yeah. Precedental. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And this guy went to the meeting and there was no representation from our leaders. They had some assistants in attending.
Yeah.
So it really just drains me because, I mean, you make it as a senator, U.S. congressman in this country, that's the ticket.
Oh, yeah.
Who'd want to be president when you can be senator?
Yeah.
I mean, we got like 30 senators over the age of 98.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's crazy.
So they're on life support and they still won't give up.
Yeah.
And so I just really believe term limits are a big issue that could really help our country.
Yeah.
And, I make so many different decisions today at the age of 46 than I did, 10, 20. So I don't know. When you get about 65 years old, you probably just need to go home.
I think you just need to become a politician.
Yeah.
Me? That's when you get to 65. That's your retirement plan. You need to become a politician.
Yeah, that's a pretty good idea.
You can enter in with making a modest salary, and then you become a millionaire in like 2 or 3 years.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. So
the return seems to be really good.
It works in your favor. It's not a lot of bankruptcies around politicians.
No, it's not.
Well, that's the politician thing. You're dead on, and that's where I was talking to somebody that is kind of deep in that world, and I was asking them about just support for farmers because unfortunately I was like, man, at this place where we're at in ag, I'm like, if we don't get some help, it's going to be astronomical amount of bankruptcies and Lord knows what else. And so I'm like, we do unfortunately have to have help. And I was talking to them about that, and I said, what's the holdup? Like, why? And he said, well, one of the problems, because it's not just left and right. I mean, it's not just the left that's like not wanting to support farmers. It's kind of both of them.
Yep.
And I was like, well, what's the deal? And he said, well, man, he said, even in some of these conservative states, which generally would kind of favor the farmers, he said, some of them don't have any constituents that there's not a lot of farmers. And he said, some of them have no constituents that really are impacted that bad. Now they just don't understand. It's through groceries and gas and all these other elements, they are impacted, but they don't feel the impact like worried about, am I going to lose my home because I'm so deep in debt? And they are not there. And so they're like, their constituents aren't feeling it, so they're not feeling it. So they don't think that it's as pressing as it is. And then I've told some people what hurts us here in the Mid-South is we're not the Corn Belt. And, we produce, but we don't get, when the I states, they're the ones that get all the attention. And like our area, even though our towns, they really, when ag is doing well, our towns tend to do well and thrive.
Oh, totally.
Yeah. And so we feel the hurt. Everybody around us feels the hurt, but we're not a blip on the radar in terms of like, grand scheme of bushels produced.
Yeah. So, we're organics people, and one of our cores there is community, because I mean, right now, our local businesses, and Amanda, you could speak on this with your stuff there. I mean, Main Street, local rural Main Street is really struggling.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I was going to bring up the fact that just from my tenure in the cotton gin industry, I mean, you can go through the Southeast states, the Mid-South states, and where a gin has closed, where mills have closed, where even for that matter, some of your manufacturers of chemical and those kind of things have closed, and they're just desolate. Like it's very
ghost town,
poverty stricken, or in some cases that it might be dwindling just to a couple stores and that's it.
Yeah.
And it's really disheartening sometimes when you go through there and you think and you see these homes and stuff and things that were a thriving community was, and it's gone. But also I do, a lot of community work on the CEDC in Covington and the Main Street, and there's several main streets that are struggling because there's not a lot of opportunity there for businesses to invest. There's not a lot of extra income for any of us to really do a lot of quote unquote extracurricular activities, and that's not just in ag; that's across everyone's pocketbook at this point. And so I think everybody's being way more mindful of strategically placing things that they can, especially for those that are probably really active in church too, because then you've got your ministries work that some of your churches have committed to, and everybody sets these budgets in place. And if you really start pulling back in a lot of these donation areas, that it creates a ripple effect all the way through.
Yeah.
And then for that time too, volunteer time's gone down. People don't want to have the extra gas and time being gone, for those things too. So we're as a country right now, we're definitely struggling in multiple areas.
We're in a weird place.
We are.
I've got friends all outside of ag, and I don't know anyone that is doing very good right now. I got a good friend that's a truck driver, and he's independent truck driver. And I was talking to him, it's been about a month ago, and he moved. He lives off kind of more eastern Tennessee, and he came down and was just talking to us one day, and he was like, man, I finally bought my first new Peterbilt. Because he always kind of ran older trucks that he kind of tricked out. I always loved them, but he was like, I bought my first new semi, super pumped to have it, and now I don't know how I'm going to pay for it. Because he said, when I bought it, I was getting a lot of work. And he said, man, now it's drying up. And he said, people are just struggling. And he said, now I'm struggling. And that's why I would say, ag is so bad right now. And I mean, I'm always, generally this time of year, I'm getting excited I'm going to the meetings, I'm talking about these seeds. I've always really kind of gotten into, some guys get into the fertilizer, the agronomy. I've always really gotten into the seed. I'm like, man, I love messing with the different varieties. I got an idea like this group 4 will go here and this corn will be really good here. Like I've always kind of loved that side of things. I don't give a shit about it right now.
Don't care.
I don't care. There was a meeting 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago or something, and they were, offering lunch, and And, I'm a typical farmer. Y'all got some awesome looking hats over there that y'all were getting me some hats. And I was like, man, I'm not going to turn down a hat. There was hats at this meeting and lunch, and I didn't go. Like my dad, he was like, hey, there's a meeting today. They're going to feed us. I said, I'm not going.
So you keep talking about that, and I had down, just we're the major why in farming, and we're the high cost producer in the world, and we know it.
Yeah,
we got to work on it. And so I had kind of broke this down in 4 areas, but I think the only answer to this is they're equal. But what's the biggest problem? The farmer mental health, the denial of our problem, and our just our whole mental makeup. The weather, rising cost, or tariffs. Which one's the biggest problem?
Oh, gosh.
I say it's equal.
I was going to say, I think each one of them plays a major key. Unfortunately, the mental health to me is still the most important.
I would 100% agree.
Yeah, I mean, you just can't, I've told some people in 2024, that was the first year I ever just lost a lot of money. And, I'd had years, because this will be my 12th season running my own operation. And I'd had years where I'd break even, and I had some years where I did really well. But then 24, I lost a lot of money. And I remember, man, I was like, what the heck am I going to do? And I just was in not a very good headspace. And, luckily I've got a great family and all that. And I never, I would never, I just couldn't go to that level. But it was so dark then. I was like, I understand how people get to that point.
Well, it's a shame. It's So it's, and you just gotta quit thinking about some things and go on.
Well, I'm just sitting here at the table with y'all as, my husband travels for a living. I'm more the ag girl that has some of the things at home and that kind of thing. But y'all are being the man. You are the breadwinner of the home. You are the leader. And I know that just for me, sometimes I struggle with him being gone. A lot of times I have to kind of handle both of those roles. And I recognize when I'm trying to handle both those roles, it really mentally, physically, emotionally wears me down.
Yeah.
And so I'm sitting here just listening to the two of y'all and reflecting that, y'all, there is no break. You have no switch time. There's not a switch time off, but you're expected to be the leader at the home. You're expected to manage your business. You're expected to be able to go out here in the front and conduct yourself in business settings and multiple, to not have the constant doom and gloom all the time, but yet be factual, bring things forward and not have so much emotional tie.
Yeah.
And so, but in the same time, y'all aren't ever really able to release that or get a break because, society doesn't really allow it. Generally speaking,
we're too busy.
You're too busy, and then nobody, right. I don't think sleep as a whole nation right now, none of us get really good positive sleep. And that's we could go on a whole tangent of that between preservatives, lifestyle, sleep, phones, yada, yada, yada. But I just, for me, listening to this, because that was a question that I was going to, kind of ask a while ago is, for the two of you, most of the time, what are probably the 2 top things that are on your mind all the time?
Oh, debt is on my mind every day, all day. That's all I think about all the time. Now, in the last 2 years, that's what I think about all the time.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what
because your assets aren't worth as much.
No, they're not. No, I mean, I guess my combine, I've got a 680. It's a great combine. I love that combine. And, when I bought it, I got it for a good price. Now I'm so upside down, I can't get rid of it if I needed to.
Right.
I mean, and so, I think about it all the time. And
it's kind of like those guys with the Case IH cotton pickers.
Oh gosh, yeah. I'm glad I don't have a cotton picker.
Yeah.
But that's the thing. And for some reason, 2 to 3 o'clock in the morning is when it's going to hit me. Like that's what I'm gonna wake up at 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning. And it's funny because it's I can't do anything about it now anyways. It's the dead of night. I'm not going to go rob a bank at 2 o'clock in the morning and get some cash.
Down in Tipton County.
Yeah. I don't know if they'd have to have quite a bit of cash.
Logan the kid.
Logan the kid.
There we go.
Hey, I got a guy that helps me he's a pretty skilled military guy. We might could do something.
Okay.
But no, man, I mean, I have felt it myself. My mental state is not what it was 2 years ago. You know, I've just been, you know, not like I'm, you know, my wife ain't having to take the shoestrings out of my shoes,
Right.
but I'm just in a much darker state than I used to be, and I'm more, I hate to say it, but I'm more cynical.
And
Like,
you've talked about it.
yeah, I
You've
tried.
talked,
Yeah,
you've talked about it. So my heart really, me as well,
Yeah.
me too.
But I've seen that though, y'all, even when you speak of cynical, you know, I even witnessed that within myself the last few years, you know, and I see that in some other podcasts that aren't ag, you know, but it's more of that you're harsher. I don't know. You're more.
That's how I feel. Well, and how often farmers, we're like notorious for being like, well, there's always next year.
Yes.
I haven't said that in 2 years. I mean, and like I used to be the same way. It's like, well, man, you know, there's always next year.
We're going to overcome it.
Yeah, we're going to overcome it. Right now, I'm like, I don't know.
Yeah. So, I mean, it looks like last year in row crop industry alone, we lost 1.1 billion. I mean, that's a big suck on wealth.
Yeah.
And
You see the USDA just projected income's going to be even lower this year.
yeah. So it, you know, it don't do any good to talk about it. So this Super Bowl weekend, probably didn't know that, Amanda. Did you
I
know?
did.
You
but
did?
I'm focused on chocolate tour though for
Yeah.
Covington.
Hey,
so-
I mean, I'm not a sports guy. Besides UFC, I don't watch hardly anything.
Okay. But I guess it was, I don't know how long ago, but the Paul Harvey commercial with Dodge.
God made a farmer.
Yeah.
Yes.
So that's really, you know, that's really the pressure you feel. That was really a nailed it kind of song. And,
Yep.
but yeah, so I guess, yeah, out of my 4 areas, I mean, I don't disagree. That's probably the biggest because some of us don't feel like there's life after farming.
Yep.
And there's a lot. I used to have a lot of cattle. There's life after cows.
Yeah.
So there's
Oh, yeah.
life after.
Well,
you know.
I mean, I tell my cousin, I'm like, he's got his Ferrari right now because of the way cattle's doing. You know, he runs cattle, and I'm like, yeah, you pulled up in your Ferrari out there. And I joke, he obviously don't have a Ferrari, but cattle is booming, and so which his argument is, well, it's finally making what it ought to be making all along. He's like, you know, we're all celebrating in the cattle world, but he's like, well, we've been getting crap pay forever.
But it's not making enough that it would interest corporate people.
No. So it might be in the sweet spot.
Yeah.
Maybe
That's a
it's
valid
in the
point.
sweet spot.
You can make a living, but the big people aren't interested.
Yeah.
So
'Cause
that's a good point.
That's what's killed. I mean, the corporate stuff is what killed row crop farming. I mean,
And that's what's taken the most sectors of livestock.
Yep.
Just not they just can't overcome the land to raise the cattle.
That's right. That's right.
And yeah, so that's some more good points. But
You know, Caleb, go back to your 4 things. The mind, the mental is the only thing you can control out of those. That's it, as you an individual.
yeah.
I mean,
that's
that's
one
the
you
only
can
thing
handle.
because that affects you, that affects your family, that affects the whole, you know, that's the whole trajectory of where your lifestyle, your legacy is going.
Have y'all ever read the book A Man's Search for Meaning by Viktor Frankl?
No.
I'm happy
All
to
right,
read that.
you need to read it. He was a Holocaust survivor, and it's
Well, that'll give you some
Yeah,
certainty.
no
yeah,
doubt.
I was gonna say, yeah, you think farming's bad. I guess we should have, if we had been in that, we wouldn't think nothing about it. But in there, he says, and I'm gonna butcher how he says it, but basically, you have the ability to choose. Essentially, you have the ability to choose to be joyful. And he said in there, like he could tell when somebody, you know, I mean, they were just all emaciated and like he said they would conserve cigarettes and they would smoke like 1 cigarette a day. And he said that he would, every now and then, he'd see a guy and he would be just chain smoking. And he said he knew that guy was going to die. And he said because the dude he had given up. And so he's like, I'm just going to smoke, you know, I'm going to finish out, I'm going to smoke my pack and I'm done. And he said his mindset, he had just, all his joy, his ability to choose to be joyful, he had given it all up. And so that's where, you know, I wrestle with that. Like, you know, I wrestle with that in farming because it's last year, even as bad as things were, man, I got out there in my combine. It was the first field I cut and it's farm my own. And I was cutting the beans and I was by myself and the sun was like setting and I got out and I was looking and I was like, man, and I felt joyful. Like, and I'm like, there's still joy in there. We just got to figure out how to pull it out of it. So, you know, I don't want your audience to be like, man, this guy's all doom and gloom. I mean, like
It's life.
It
It's
is,
part
it's
of it.
life.
You got to be real.
yeah.
Yeah. So, with your cattle production, are you selling any locally or are you?
Man, I am so small scale. I have like 8 cows You know,
Okay.
my dad never.
So you
was the one-
named them. You got names.
some of them actually do. Annabelle, Dipstick is my bull.
Okay.
Yeah. So,
No
Biscuit,
pun intended.
no
Go
pun
ahead.
intended.
Okay.
And then, yeah, no pun intended for sure. But he did that because we got a nice little calf. My kids named her Biscuit. So yeah, we got just a handful, and I usually just every year or so I'll feed one out just so we have beef.
Yeah.
That's what. Yeah.
Yeah.
I wish this past year I had about 150 head of them. Is what I wish I had. But
Yeah, but you'd have more of that debt.
that's true. That's true.
Yeah, right now would not be the time to be buying into them.
Oh gosh, yeah, no, I would not want to buy in for sure.
Right. So, I mean, it does seem like an uphill battle, but something's going to come along here and change. It's it's crazy to think about, but something's going to change. And we've met with everybody. Every one of our conversations, Amanda's, when we've made a big loop, it's been tough. But at the end of the day, everybody's got tenacity.
Yeah. Well, farmers we're historically resilient. I mean, you got to be. And so you just.
Well, if it wasn't for farmers, we wouldn't have advances on equipment most of the time. It took, there's several things that I know my granddaddy did just to move things forward, but there's, for that matter, even it takes y'all to get the varieties in the right placement. Truly, you can test plot all day long, but the data comes from y'all planting the seeds and experimenting. So it's, to your point, tenacity, and then always thinking outside the box and going, all right, well, I'll check that off, move to the next one,
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, so we just need more. We need some new tenacity crop.
Well, and that's one of the axes that we grind on Talk Dirt to Me is the necessity for new blood in ag. But we talk about how all right, we're in it and we're struggling like hell. So it's like I can understand the difficulty for someone to enter, but I'm like the average age of a farmer is like 60 years old. And that's pretty bad. That's the sign essentially of, you could almost say that's a dying.
I disagree. 60's not that bad. It's getting closer to Amanda over here. She's,
You're older than I am.
I know,
man.
barely.
Yeah.
But she's always talking about, I just can't believe this. I can't believe that. I'm like, well, it's happening. I can see it over here. So
it's
it's
60,
happening to me.
It doesn't look as old as I remember. I remember as a kid thinking like,
Oh yeah, it's ancient.
ancient.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's ancient.
Yeah.
No, it ain't that old.
Now that we're our parents' age, at the time they had us,
Now, that's a weird thing to think about. But
yeah.
But I guess the thing is like, it's that age is only increasing. Like you look at the trend, and I mean, years ago it was 55, and now it's 60, and so.
So you bring up a good point, and you've got children.
Yep.
Do you want them to come back to the farm?
I've been asked that a couple times, and I've thought about this a lot, and at the current place that it is, no, I don't. And I love ag. I love agriculture, and I always want to be involved in agriculture, and because of the mental health aspect. Like I said, 2 years ago, man, I was in the darkest place I've ever been in my life. And so I'm like, I don't want my kids to be there.
Yeah, I mean,
It's
as long as we just don't have our if we had the 30 cents of the food dollar,
Oh, yeah.
it'd be different.
Yeah.
And so that's really my sticking point about it. And also with the kids, it's very dangerous.
Oh, yeah.
It's a dangerous occupation, and I don't know. It's something's got to change, and it's with the kids, that side of it. But at the same time, we're just getting so much more efficient. We can do so much more. It's just like we've always heard our whole life. The population is going to be too many people to feed. Well, that's a crock of crap.
Oh, yeah. Because we're producing. Yeah.
We got way more.
It's like we ain't having no trouble there.
Yeah. So one of my big pet peeves is, a steak today. What's one costing an ounce?
They're high as hell. I bought a ribeye just the other night, and it was probably 1.2 pounds. So you'll tell me the ounces.
That'd be 18.
And it was about $30.
Okay. So just say $1.25 an ounce.
Yeah.
For protein, solid protein. So what'd you buy with that? Did you have some?
We had some potatoes.
Chips, or
I got potato. I tried to eat pretty good, but we had some potatoes.
Yeah. So
Sweet
have you ever just walked down and looked at chip aisle, and $7 for a bag of chips
Yeah, for nothing.
for 8 ounces.
Yeah.
And so the producer, the consumers are willing to pay for some garbage, and they're not willing to pay for high quality, safe protein.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think I've got faith in our young kids for a hippie movement. I think they're going to bust up the plate and do something different and way better.
Well, I think there's elements to the Maha movement that are frustrating from a farming standpoint, and that's talked about like the kind of attack on some of the necessary things we use, some of our herbicides that we're still utilizing. And I mean, like it or not, we still have to use them right now. And I mean, I'm fine with seeing an off ramp, but we got to have a good, effective off ramp. But one of the good things, I do like the new food pyramid deal. Like, and it really emphasized beef. Now, I'm a beefaholic. I eat beef all the time. And, and it's funny.
We do too.
Oh, yeah, I love beef. But now, and it is kind of funny to think, because I just said it was high as hell. But if you really broke it down versus the shit that we eat, yeah, it's not. I mean, and we've said that about Starbucks. People are like, man, I'm not going to pay $6 a pound for ground beef. It's like, but then they'll go to Starbucks and they'll buy some crappy coffee thing that it's like $12.
Yeah.
It's like, that's nothing. And I ain't got nothing in that that's worth a crap.
And then the energy drink craze.
Oh,
That's crazy, man. There's so many freaking energy drinks.
Yeah. So, and I just noticed yesterday we were in a grocery store or in a convenience store. They're very expensive.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. It's just kind of odd to me that they just are so foolish with what they're purchasing. Everybody, farmers, I don't care, when you're buying something, you need to diagnose what you're buying.
Well, sit and think about this, y'all. And to a degree, which I don't have children, but you sit and think, you get used to having snack time for kids. You get used to having these things. If the parents are not adamant about the fruits, the vegetables, instead of just giving the chips, the crackers, the whatever, well, it becomes a habit. And you carry that on into your adult life, and it's the quick grab. It's the quick whatever. Oh, I can buy a big bulk bag of chips, keep them in the truck, grab them on the way to cheerleading, grab them on the way to FFA, grab them whatever. And you set that mindset because it's repetitiveness.
Yeah.
We've just self-taught instead. And it's not until, I would agree, till we probably hit our late 20s that we really cognitively start thinking about what we're putting in our body. Probably 30s for that matter.
Yeah.
And then go,
Well, it's convenient. It's
It
convenience
is.
stores.
It
So
is.
it's convenient.
Well, I mean, and that's what, I don't eat any worse than when it's planting or harvest time, because I'm usually at the mercy of wherever I am. Because I'm not, again, we were talking off air, I think, about some are planners, some are not. I'm a chaos machine. Like I function in chaos, and so I don't plan. And so I'm just kind of like, wherever I'm
daylight,
at.
it's dark.
It's daylight, it's dark. Wherever I find some food, that's what I'm going to have. If that's something good, that's good. If that's some chicken taquitos from the gas station, and then that's just what I'm eating.
that you're going to pay for later.
Yeah, I'm going to pay for later. But it is funny too, though. Like with our kids, my kids, I've got twins. They'll be 8 in about a week, and they eat great. And my wife, she's kind of, kudos to her. Like we'll give them, they have like beef jerky. There's really good snacks. I will say it's in this day and age, we have access to probably better stuff than we ever have.
But they're also more expensive.
They are. Yep. Oh yeah. If you try to just eat really clean, you're going to spend more. But I think people are getting aware.
But I don't know. So if you eat 6 ounces of steak for $10, and you buy a $10 bag of chips and you eat all of those, which one in 2 hours, who's going to be the hungriest?
The one with the chips.
I'm going to say the chips, man. You need that protein.
Yeah. So I don't know.
Sticks to the bones.
We just got to think. I think we need to just step back and realize what we're doing, more than normal. But
oh yeah.
It's complicated. I'm like you. I just kind of bounce from one problem to the next, and then thank God it's dark, and let's go home. And oh my goodness, the sun come up. Let's get at it. So it's kind of that mentality.
Yeah, I'm the same way, man. That's how I am, and I like I'm a night guy. Like I like to function in the dark. That's kind of when my cousin and I is where we contrast. I mean, he's a cattle guy. And he's a veterinarian. And so he's up. He likes to get up at like 5 o'clock in the morning and get his day going. Ideally I like getting up about 6:37, but I like to run till about midnight.
Okay.
I like them dark
So
out.
you don't get up at the crack of noon or nothing?
No, I ain't like that. That's it. I guess some people hear me, they're like, "Oh man, this dude's sleeping half the day."
Yeah.
No, I still like getting up about 6:37. I just only sleep about 5 hours.
Yeah. Well, that's sleep's overrated.
It is.
I was
It
going to
is.
say, he doesn't get good sleep either.
Arnold always said, "Man, you just you only got so many days or hours in the day, and you got time for this, time for that. So you just got to sleep faster."
Yeah.
So that's what I try to do.
Well, I have thoroughly enjoyed this conversation with us. And Logan, do you want to do a shout out for your podcast for
Sure.
people to know where to follow you as well? And then we'll wrap up.
Awesome. Well, like I said, I hugely appreciate y'all having me on. Hopefully, I haven't just rambled
No.
aimlessly. But y'all can check us out. It's Talk Dirt to Me, and we're on all the platforms. And Spotify and Apple is our bread and butter. We got a website, talkdirtpodcast.com, and you can go on there. We love questions. We get a lot of questions. We got a contact page. You can fill that out. I'm all over Instagram. That's kind of where I like to hang out. And that's just, I made it real simple. That's at lo.hanks. So we got a Facebook page on it. So yeah, I'd love for y'all to check it out.
Yeah, and I'd like to leave with a call to action. Anybody out here that's really struggling to reach out to us.
Yeah.
And, as doom and gloom as this is, it's not the end of the world, and it's loan renewal season. So there's a lot of people at 2:00 in the morning trying to fix a problem they can't fix.
Yep.
And I get it. But yeah, so we're here for all our, as Opie Taylor told Andy that time, he's one of my own kind, and so kind of out here for that. And, yeah,
And
but I really appreciate you coming on, and we'll have to get on your podcast and maybe do this a
Yes,
little
we
more
should.
regular. And
Yeah.
it's
And we welcome our viewers to look at rooted-ag.com. Check out our Rooted FMS budget app, actual software, and also the endurance line that we have. And definitely keep following us on our Root Calls podcast.
Yeah, you'll need to leave them 5-star ratings. We harp on that. It really helps.
well,
drive.
what does Dave Ramsey say? If you can't leave a 5-star, go away.
Yeah.
Or something.
Yeah. Well, that's what I've always said. You may occasionally you might get 1 or 2 1-star ratings, and I've always said a guy that leaves a 1-star rating is just a hater. Because I have never listened to something and just been like, I hate this so much, I'm going to leave 1-star rating.
Because why would I have stayed through the whole thing to finish it?
And honestly, if I'm going to leave a rating, it's just going to be a good rating, because I'm not going to, if I don't like it, I'm just going to not listen to it anymore.
Kind of like the people at the restaurant who were complaining about the meal with a clean plate.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Like, man, this wasn't no good, but I ate it all. But yeah, y'all do leave them 5-star ratings on, I'm sure you're on Apple and Spotify.
Yeah, and YouTube.
Gotcha.
So,
Yeah,
we're
hit
on
the
there.
like button. It's hard to get people to just hit that little like button. You got to do it.
Why is that?
I don't know. I since we're on YouTube now, like I just hit like. I just instinctively hit like on videos.
Right.
I do too. I find myself doing that as well.
Yeah.
We don't get enough comments
Well, comments, that's even harder. That's like the hardest thing to get.
because you got to have like a full sentence and make sense.
Yeah,
and
you
all
got that takes even longer. Like the like is pretty low bar, but a comment, then they got to really put some effort into it.
Yeah. Well, all good points, Logan. I really enjoyed it.
Yes.
Well,
I
thank
do
y'all.
too.
And like I said, you got a
Thank
killer setup. Y'all are doing a great job. So I
Yeah,
appreciate it.
well, I can't take all the credit for that, but we had a lot of good help, and so we didn't want to look as redneck as we are. So
Hey, it wouldn't have bothered me. I can promise you.
all right,
Thank
thanks.
you.
Thank y'all.